In just a moment, you'll discover the ticker symbol that's set to be the hottest investment of 2021, with experts projecting gains as high as 1,530% by the end of 2021. That is enough to turn $1,000 into more than $16,000 by the end of the year. Unfortunately, a recent study shows that only 3% of retirees already have money in this ticker. That means most people will miss out. And that's a shame, because Forbes has confirmed that when all is said and done, a new class of millionaires may emerge. It's all thanks to this letter from the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency, the OCC, the agency that regulates and supervises all national banks and federal savings associations. Even though this wasn't published in any major newspaper or discussed on TV, this letter describes a major new change to our banking system. A change that's set to trigger a massive money shift into one single investment, helping mint new millionaires in America. Yahoo Finance called it a landmark decision that could lead to major shifts. Financial industry expert Seamus Donoghue called this OCC move a complete game changer. And Morgan Stanley economist Chet Naya said a regime shift is underway. In just a minute, you'll hear from Teeka Tiwari, a former VP of a major U.S. investment bank, an insider with connections, and a man who's been deeply involved in this major shift. He'll even give you the name and ticker, no strings attached. This is a man who picked Apple back in 2003 when it was trading under $2. Since then, shares of Apple have skyrocketed, almost 48,000%. More recently, he also picked Bitcoin when it was trading for just $428. Since then, Bitcoin has exploded as much as 4,503%. And now, he's issuing the most important alert of his 30-year career. He already invested in this market and was able to turn $1,000 into as much as $1.6 million. And he's not the only one. He also shared this secret with a few everyday folks who follow his work, and they've reported some incredible stories. In fact, in just a few minutes, you'll hear from BJ, a hardworking American from Tennessee. She'll tell you how she went from being broke and living out of a storage locker to becoming a millionaire and not having to worry about retirement anymore, all because she took advantage of this secret. Here's the full story.
Hi, I'm Teeka Tiwari, and right now I want you to grab a piece of paper and a pen, because in just a moment I'm going to give you the ticker symbol of what I believe will be the hottest investment of 2021, and I'm going to give it to you with no strings attached. Experts are already projecting this investment could rise as high as 1,530% by the end of this year. That's 15 times your money. Unfortunately, most people will miss out. As Yahoo Finance wrote recently, retail investors are still mostly sidelined. I don't want you to be one of those people. Look, this is just not fair. While everyday folks are in the dark, the savviest investors are investing enormous amounts of money in this idea. And that's because the agency that regulates all banks in the United States has just announced a major change. In this letter right here, I'm holding in my hand, and it's set to trigger a huge money shift. Raoul Pal, CEO of the advisory service Global Macro Investor, believes trillions will flow into this ticker. That's why he already invested 75% of his liquid assets in it. He said, it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity we're being given. We get to front run a wall of money. This is the biggest, best single bet I've ever seen in my career of every asset I've ever looked at. Famous hedge fund manager Paul Tudor Jones is also betting big on this ticker. He already poured $183 million into this opportunity. Out of all the investments in his portfolio, he says this may end up being the best performer of all of them. Better than all the stocks he already holds, like Google, Amazon, and Apple. He also said, we're in the first inning. It's got a long way to go. It's like investing in Google early. Think about that. Had you invested $10,000 in Google when it went public, you'd have $363,200 today. And Paul Tudor Jones, well, he's not alone. One River Asset Management has set up a fund that will invest about $1 billion in this one ticker. How crazy is that? Hedge fund manager Mike Novogratz has invested at least a whopping $700 million in this market. He said everyone should put 2 to 3% of their net worth in this ticker and look at it in 5 years. And it's going to be a whole lot more. Wall Street legend Bill Miller, the founder of investment manager Miller Value Partners, also strongly recommends buying this ticker now. Here's what he said. I think every major bank, every major investment bank, every major high net worth firm is going to eventually have some exposure. Or look at another famous billionaire, Stanley Druckenmiller. He became renowned after him and his partner, George Soros, famously broke the Bank of England when they shorted the British pound in 1992 and walked away with $1 billion in profits. Recently, he just announced he's also invested in this ticker. It's truly a mad rush right now. All the big players are getting in. In fact, institutions like hedge funds, pensions, and endowments are already pouring up to $400 million into this market every single week. Think about that. 400 million every single week. Do they know something that you don't? Fidelity also reported that financial advisors, high net worth individuals, and family offices are getting into this as well. Even some public companies are now investing in this ticker. Look at MicroStrategy, a Virginia-based software company that trades on the NASDAQ. After putting a whopping $250 million in this ticker, they issued a press release saying this would provide the prospect of earning a higher return than other investments. Now look, I can't blame them. I'm personally doing the same with my own money. You see, I'm a former VP at a major investment bank in the United States, and for obvious reasons, I can't mention their name. But over the last few years, I've dedicated my life to this major change to our financial system. I've traveled around the world discussing this with other bankers, and they all see this coming. And I'm here today because every American deserves to know the implications of this new banking rule that was announced in this letter from the OCC. Make no mistake, this will trigger a huge monetary shift, and it's creating an incredible opportunity for you to come out of this wealthier than ever before. In fact, I took out hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars from my personal bank account and put it all in the opportunity I'll reveal here today, because I'm 100% confident this will be the hottest investment of 2021. I'm 100% confident that those who don't get in now will regret it by the end of the year. Let me ask you this. Have you ever missed out on an investment only to watch shares go on a historic run? Maybe you had the chance to buy shares of Amazon when it was just a bookstore. After all, nearly nobody understood the potential of the internet back then. And as we all know, shares went on to skyrocket almost 172,000%. Or maybe you had a chance to invest in Netflix when they were just getting started in streaming back in 2007. Since then, shares of Netflix have exploded almost 17,000% higher. Or maybe you missed out on Tesla more recently because all the media could talk about was how the company wasn't profitable. But as we all know, shares have jumped as much as 11,630%. I think we've all missed historic opportunities like those. And if you did, I can't blame you, because there's a lot of misinformation out there, which is why I'm here today. We're facing a historic opportunity right now. And I'll tell you this, if you miss this ticker and the boom that's going on in this market, I am certain that by the end of 2021, you'll regret it. Remember, experts are projecting gains as high as 1,530% by the end of this year. If those projections are right, that means anyone who invests $5,000 today could cash out by the end of the year with $81,538. And that's why I want to give you the ticker in just a moment, again, with no strings attached. First, it's important you understand exactly what's creating this massive opportunity. It all started with the COVID-19 pandemic. As you know, because of social distancing and lockdowns, our entire economy basically came to a screeching halt in 2020. Take a look. That was the sharpest economic contraction in modern American history. It was 4 times worse than what we saw in 2008. Now, because of this unprecedented collapse, the US Federal Reserve, our central bank, felt like they had no choice but to take drastic measures. They promised to print unlimited amounts of money to stimulate the economy. As the Fed president said, no end in our ability to print money, and Congress has told us to. In just a few months following the COVID outbreak, the Fed had already printed a little over $3 trillion. That's more than the entire size of the UK economy where I grew up. And they're promising to do more. Now, it's no secret all this money printing is triggering a boom in the stock market. This headline from USA Today says it all. Fed's aggressive monetary policy behind the stock market rally. Now, ever since the Fed announced unlimited money printing, many stocks have gone on a historic rally. Take a look. Shares of Amazon jumped 60%, Facebook 80%. Shares of Apple more than doubled, which is just insane for a big company to do that in less than a year. But there was one ticker that beat them all, the one that I will give you in just a moment. And if you missed out so far, I don't want you to worry, because this is just the beginning of a historic run. As I'm about to show, some experts are projecting gains as high as 1,530% by the end of the year. I hope you realize how just crazy that is. Last year, the stock market went up about 15%, and that was considered an amazing year. And this ticker is set to go up as much as 1,530% this year. That's more than 100 times better than what the stock market did last year. And it's all thanks to this letter from the OCC. It's going to help trigger a historic monetary shift. There's no telling how much money will move into this ticker. Perhaps trillions of dollars. Now, I already shared this ticker with a few folks who follow my work, and in just a moment, you'll hear one of their incredible stories. You'll also need to act quickly, because we could be just a few days away from a big announcement that could accelerate this entire trend. There's not much time left. Remember, the OCC is the agency that regulates all banks in the United States. Now, as you can see here, their letter says a national bank may provide cryptocurrency custody services on behalf of customers. That's right. For the first time ever, banks will be able to hold cryptocurrencies as an asset, just like they hold a certificate of deposit. I want you to think about the implications of this. Just a few years ago, most people thought cryptos were a scam, but now pretty much every institution in the United States is starting to embrace cryptos as a real asset. That's why a lot of money is about to flow into this one ticker I want to give you in just a moment. First, I need to address something really important. I'm sure you've heard of cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, and if you're still skeptical, I can't blame you. The clueless media has confused Americans in recent years. For example, in late 2015, the Financial Times called Bitcoin a pyramid scheme. Around the same time, the Washington Post declared Bitcoin isn't the future of money. I even found an article with the headline, 10 Reasons Why You Should Not Care About Bitcoin. Look, I knew the media was just clueless about digital currencies. So instead of listening to them, I recommended Bitcoin when it was trading around $428. Check this out. Since then, Bitcoin has exploded as much as 4,503%. And that's with the big correction we saw in 2018. So yes, it has been a bumpy road, but that's 52 times more money than you could have made in the stock market. Had you invested just $10,000 when I recommended it, you could be up over $460,300 today. And that wasn't even my biggest gain in the crypto space. Another crypto I spotted soared 11,318%. That would have turned $10,000 into $1.14 million. And check this out. Another small crypto I recommended, it went ballistic, shooting up over 150,000%, enough to turn $1,000 into more than $1.5 million. That's unheard of. If all this sounds too good to be true, please keep this in mind. All of that actually already happened. I personally saw $1,000 grow into as much as $1.6 million. That's why in just a moment, I'll show you how you can get into my top 3 small crypto picks for 2021, even if you know nothing about cryptocurrencies. Last time, several of my readers wrote to tell us how they became millionaires buying those smaller cryptos. I'll let you hear from one of them in just a moment because you could be the next success story. I'll also give you the ticker symbol of what I believe will be the #1 investment of 2021. Again, no strings attached. The truth is, as big as those gains were, it is nothing compared to what's coming. We all know from Economics 101 that what drives prices is supply and demand. If you have declining supply and increasing demand, the price is mathematically guaranteed to go higher. That's a law of economics. It's as certain as gravity. And that's exactly the situation we have today with Bitcoin. You see, the problem with the dollar is there are just too many of them. Like I showed you earlier, we're witnessing a historic experiment with our currency, with the Fed printing trillions like never before. As an expert on the Federal Reserve, Peter Conti Brown says, America has never seen anything like it. Bitcoin has its own problem, of course. There just aren't enough to go around. As a digital currency, the supply of Bitcoin is dictated by a computer code. Each year, by design, fewer and fewer Bitcoins are released to the public, and that should push the price higher. Think about that. While our central bank is printing trillions of dollars, increasing the supply of dollars like never before, Bitcoin's supply is guaranteed to decline. That's why Pantera Capital wrote a note to its clients saying, get out of paper money and into Bitcoin. The US printed more dollars in June than between 1776 and 1979. Think about that. So how high can Bitcoin go? I mean, it has already moved up a lot. Can it really go much higher? Well, here's the good news. Since the supply of Bitcoin is pre-programmed, we know what the supply will be in the future. So we can actually project future price ranges. Now, according to one model known as stock to flow, Bitcoin could hit $100,000 sometime in the coming months and $1 million per token within the next 4 years. Now, of course, this is just a projection, but notice how the model has tracked the actual prices of Bitcoin pretty closely. We're talking about the potential to 5x your money. Now, it's not just me saying this. This is based on a model that has been very, very accurate so far. That's why Yahoo Finance wrote, top hedge funds and money managers are betting the virtual currency could more than quintuple to as high as $100,000 in a year. And believe it or not, that's a conservative estimate. You see, venture capitalist and billionaire Tim Draper believes the price of Bitcoin will hit $250,000 by the end of 2022. According to his projection, if you invest $10,000 right now in Bitcoin, you could cash out with $131,578 in the next couple of years. Now, most Americans don't even have that much saved for retirement, and it gets even better. Because maybe you won't have to wait 2 years to see massive gains. Some experts are already projecting some huge gains by the end of 2021. For example, hedge fund manager Brian Estes predicts Bitcoin could end the year as high as $288,000. That's a 1,416% jump. Citibank Managing Director Thomas Fitzpatrick thinks it's going even higher. He predicted that all the money printing could send Bitcoin to $318,000 by December 2021. That's a 1,530% gain. So imagine investing $10,000 right now and cashing out at the end of the year with more than $163,000. And still, that could be just the beginning. You see, in the long run, gains could be even bigger. Former Goldman Sachs fund manager Raoul Pal recently tweeted, "It's not stocks, not bonds, not commodities, not precious metals, not miners. Only one asset massively outperformed over almost any time horizon: Bitcoin." And he said the devaluation of the world's currencies will cause the price of Bitcoin to rise 50 to 100 times in the next 5 years. If he's right, it means you could invest $10,000 today and cash out with anywhere from $500,000 and $1 million in 5 years. Look, I know all these numbers sound crazy, and most people, they just won't believe it. I know that because last time I recommended cryptos, most people, they didn't believe me either. But the few who did had the chance to become millionaires. They reported they got rich by buying smaller cryptos that were trading for pocket change. The same type of cryptos I'm going to tell you about in just a minute. I'm also going to give you the ticker I believe will be the top investment of 2021. But I'll tell you this, you better act quickly because institutional investors are buying everything they can. You see, I just explained to you the supply side of the equation, but there's also the demand side, and that's picking up like we've never seen before. I know this because I've met with all the big players in the space, including Vitalik Buterin, the creator of Ethereum, one of the most popular cryptocurrencies. I met with one of the richest men in crypto in Toronto. I also met privately with an executive in one of Asia's billion-dollar crypto exchanges, and with a Silicon Valley legend, the venture capitalist behind both PayPal and SpaceX. And they all see mass adoption of crypto assets coming. Okay, let's put this in perspective. 35 to 50 million people own crypto. That's 0.6% of the world's population. So we're still in the early stages of adoption. We'll see hundreds of millions and possibly billions of people flood into this space in the coming months and years. Let me just show you how quickly things are changing. Back in 2016, some people reported getting their bank accounts closed for buying crypto. In 2018, there wasn't a bank in all of Puerto Rico, where I live, that would let me open an account because I was writing about crypto. But today, Every major institution that matters has already embraced Bitcoin, even the ones that thought Bitcoin was just a scam. Take JP Morgan, for example. Just a couple of years ago, its CEO, Jamie Dimon, called Bitcoin a fraud. But guess what? Now his bank has accepted two Bitcoin exchanges, Coinbase and Gemini, as clients. Their research team is advising their clients to add cryptocurrencies to their portfolios. And they even launched their own digital currency called the JPM coin. The truth is, after many years of resisting, institutions are finally accepting crypto as just another asset class worthy of being held alongside stocks and bonds. Now, I already showed you how big institutions like hedge funds, pensions, and endowments are already pouring up to $400 million into cryptos every single week. That's why Forbes wrote, institutional adoption of Bitcoin is here. This is going on across the entire financial industry. For example, look at Square, a financial services and mobile payments company based in San Francisco. They allow individuals and merchants to accept offline debit and credit card payments on their smart devices. Maybe you've seen their tiny square-shaped phone plugins. Today, more than 64 million businesses across the world rely on Square's cashless system, and they're embracing Bitcoin. In its latest earnings report, Square's Cash App reported $875 million in Bitcoin revenue, a 600% increase from the previous year, and PayPal just joined them. It rolled out crypto trading to its 325 million users. Check out this headline from Barron's. Bitcoin goes mainstream as PayPal and Square embrace digital currencies. The article went on to say, fintech giants PayPal Holdings and Square are adding legitimacy to the once shadowy world of crypto payments. Both now offer users the ability to buy and sell cryptocurrency and potentially even transact with them at stores. Visa just announced a credit card that offers rewards in Bitcoin. And look at Fidelity, the largest provider of 401k retirement services. They recently launched their first Bitcoin fund. They released a statement saying, Fidelity has made a long-term commitment to the future of blockchain technology and to making digitally native assets such as Bitcoin more accessible to investors. I want you to think about that. Fidelity has over $7 trillion in assets under management. Imagine what that will do to Bitcoin if some of that money starts moving into crypto. It doesn't get more mainstream than that. This new OCC rule will just accelerate that process and open the floodgates. You see, the bylaws of many big investment funds do not allow them to park money outside federally chartered banks. For years, this has been a de facto ban on cryptocurrency. This new OCC rule, it changes all of that. Now, as Fortune said, the upshot is that big banks now have a green light to open crypto operations. That means we could see billions and billions of dollars flowing into the crypto space. Now, as Yahoo Finance says, this is a huge step towards the mass adoption of cryptocurrencies as it potentially opens the asset class up to millions of people in North America. Banking expert Seamus Donoghue said, this move from the OCC is another huge step towards mainstream institutionalization and retail access to cryptocurrencies. What do you think is going to happen when all this new money starts to flow into Bitcoin and these smaller cryptocurrencies? Look, you don't have to be a genius to figure this out. The US banking system alone holds north of $20 trillion in assets. If bank customers allocate just 1% of their accounts to Bitcoin, Bitcoin's market cap would double. That's why cryptocurrency research firm Masari wrote recently, it won't take much of an institutional allocation until $50,000 Bitcoin is back on the table. Here's another way of looking at it. If global investors reallocated just 5% of their financial assets to Bitcoin, that would be a $14.7 trillion increase in demand. That alone is enough to push Bitcoin 125 times higher. I want you to really think about that, because that's enough to turn a small $5,000 investment into a whopping $625,000. With institutional investors already pouring up to $400 million into crypto every week, there's no time to waste. It is truly a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and once it's gone forever. So how can you get started? Well, I recommend you take 3 steps right now. Step number 1, buy Bitcoin today. I want you to buy it today. Do not wait a single day. At the beginning of this presentation, I told you that billionaires are flocking into one ticker. If you haven't figured it out by now, that ticker is BTC for Bitcoin. Experts are projecting gains as high as 1,530% by the end of 2021. But the longer you wait, the more money you're leaving on the table. In fact, the Federal Reserve is scheduled to make an announcement in just a few days. According to a new report in the Wall Street Journal, the Fed is already preparing for more stimulus. If they announce more money printing or any type of easy money policy, it could send cryptos soaring higher. Just look what happened back in March 2020 when the Fed announced it would print money. Bitcoin started a 180% run. Crazy, right? I don't know what you're doing with your money, but I bet you're not seeing that kind of return. Remember, based on the most conservative estimate I showed you earlier, Bitcoin could 5x your money in the coming months. Some experts are predicting gains, as I mentioned, as high as 1,530% by the end of the year. And if you don't know anything about cryptos, I don't want you to worry, because I've recorded a crypto master course for you explaining everything you need to know. And I'd like to give you access today. To my knowledge, this is the only video series of its kind, and it will help you get up and running in minutes. Now, despite Bitcoin being one of the hottest assets of 2020, there's a ton of people still sitting on the sidelines simply because they don't know how to get started. And that's a shame, because I'm convinced cryptos will mint millionaires in the coming months. I don't want you to be left out. That's why in this video series, I'll teach you how to get started with as little as $100. Yes, even though Bitcoin is trading above $30,000, I'll show you how to buy your share for as little as $100. How to open your account online with a reputable crypto broker. It's way easier than you think. And how to place your first crypto trade. Look, if you can buy a stock, you can buy a crypto, and much, much more. We'll walk you through it step by step, so there's zero guesswork. And when you're done with this course, you'll be ahead of 99% of Americans. I'll tell you how to claim your course in just a moment, but first, let me show you the second step I recommend. Step 2, buy my top small crypto picks for 2021. I have no doubt that you'll make a ton of money with Bitcoin, but you could make even more with other cryptos that are trading for pocket change. Just look at what happened recently. Yes, Bitcoin, it's up big. But last year, a tiny crypto called Cardano jumped as high as 623%. These explosive gains are only possible because many of these smaller cryptos trade for cents on the dollar. Cardano, for example, is still trading for pennies even after that major rally. That means it just needs to go up a few more cents and boom, you could double your money. Or look at another smaller crypto called VeChain. Last year, it jumped as high as 823%. That means had you invested just $1,000 a few months ago, you'd be up as much as $9,230. To put that in perspective, that's 31 times more money than what you could have made investing in the S&P 500 index. Or look at another small crypto called Chainlink. Last year, it jumped by as much as an incredible 1,019%. I mean, normally you'd have to wait years, sometimes even decades, to see those types of gains. And yet, you could have already made 10 times your money in a few months just with this one tiny crypto. But here's what's really incredible. As amazing as these gains are, they're not even the top performers, not by a long shot. Check this out. This is just unbelievable. In my 30-year career, I've never seen anything like this. Some of these cryptos jumped as much as 1,862%, 5,845%, and even 9,000%. And that's just over 1 week. That's just insane. Because had you invested just $1,000 into each of those, a week later, you would have a little more than $223,000. I want you to really think about that. That's almost $250,000 in a week. Can you see now how some of my followers reported turning a small amount of money into millions? That's why I put all the details on my top 3 tiny cryptocurrencies in a special report called Blockchain Millionaire. How to turn $675 into $1 million with my top 3 small cryptos for 2021. I'd like to give you access right now because they each have the potential to 10x your money by next year. And based on what already happened to some of my readers, I'm being very conservative. In fact, let me play a clip for you right now. I want you to meet BJ because she says she turned $12,000 into over $1 million in just 18 months. And her story, well, it's just incredible. Check it out.
A while back, my husband, David, and I lost a good chunk of our life savings and retirement plan to fraud. It's not really my favorite thing to talk about, but for years before that, we were blessed to run a medical practice. He was a physician and I was one of the nurses. But in a strange series of events, we lost over half our savings and retirement plan, just like I mentioned. And then David himself came down with a disease that he couldn't treat and he could no longer work. So losing life savings that we'd meant for retirement and losing a job to disability, you could say that we've had a few bumps in the road. My husband called them speed bumps. We had to move out of our family home and into a rundown 1-bedroom apartment, and we basically lived out of a storage locker. But in the middle of those bumps, my husband and I prayed and then began searching for what or who might help us out. I took part of what little savings that we had left, about $12,000, and invested in this new technology. And in just 18 months, my investment returned $1.2 million. I'll save the specific details for you till a little bit later, but let's just say that everything changed for David and me. Everything. When you realize that you're not only going to have money to eat and put a roof over your head in retirement, but also enough to share and travel and have fun with your family, that's life-changing security with a lot of joy mixed in. It's changed how we spend and enjoy our time right now and given us hope for a better retirement and even given a little more peace of mind to sleep at night. For those of you watching, I know you can make this kind of money because I've made it myself. I had no prior experience investing money, and at the time at least, I had little money left to spare. I've run into many folks like me who have similar stories. No experience, not much money, yet in a relatively short time, they find themselves sitting on new piles of money that they never had before. I think you'll agree that people who hear about this and then do nothing will make nothing. So if you want to see gains like these, like my husband and I did, you're going to have to move with purpose right now. I can tell you, if I had sat on my hands back then, I wouldn't be talking to you today. This changed our lives forever. If you find yourself thinking this can't happen or it's too good to be true, I can see where it would be easy to think that. It does sound too good to be true, but it is true. And thank goodness I didn't let those kind of thoughts stop me.
Incredible, right? Now, please keep in mind that all investments carry risk, and past performance does not equal future success. I think we all know the crypto market can be extremely volatile, right? That's why I normally recommend folks just invest a small portion of their portfolios into crypto, because there's no need to bet the farm on it. You see, the secret here is many of these cryptos are trading for pocket change. So even if you're starting with a few $100s, it can still be life-changing. Look, I know you probably get bombarded with promises of riches all the time, and most of them, well, they're BS. But here's what's different. I'm talking about something that already happened to a few folks. It's already a reality for them. So I will tell you right now, it absolutely can happen for you too. Because with explosive gains like those, even a small amount of money could be enough to fund your entire retirement. Again, all the details on these cryptos are inside this report called Blockchain Millionaire, how to turn $675 into $1 million. I'll show you how to claim this report in just a moment. First, there's still one more step I recommend you take right now. Step 3, invest in the technology that's making all of this possible. Now, I'm sure you've heard of blockchain, the technology behind cryptocurrencies. What you might not know is that Bitcoin was just the first application of that technology. It's much, much bigger than that. That's why Forbes calls it the biggest disruptor in technology since the 1990s. PricewaterhouseCoopers cites this technology as a once-in-a-generation opportunity. And CNBC reports the next few years may be about as intense and heady as the 1990s. This technology will be the biggest thing since the internet itself. So what's the big deal about the blockchain? I'll tell you. We all have facts and information we don't want other people to access, be copied, or tampered with. But on the internet, there's always a chance it could be hacked or modified. Now, blockchain solves that problem because it's a virtual ledger capable of recording and verifying tamper-proof digital transactions. There is no other technology in the world that offers tamper-proof storage like the blockchain. It is a rock-solid hack-proof data system that the world is moving to right now. That's why this tech will disrupt several industries, including banking, real estate, gaming, healthcare, transportation, and more. And it's why the World Economic Forum says it's set to explode 295,762% by 2027. Bottom line, investing in early stage blockchain stocks today is like investing in internet stocks in the early 2000s, like Microsoft, Amazon, and Google. Just $1,000 invested in each of those back then would have turned into $154,000. That's the potential we have once again with blockchain stocks. And to make it easy for you, I already did all the research and found the top players that are driving this revolution. And I put all the details inside another report called My Top Plays for Blockchain's 295,000% Revolution. I'd like to give you access to this report right now. So how can you get started today? Well, I could just give you all this information and wish you good luck, and I'm sure you do very well. But with the Fed printing money like never before, and with institutional investors buying cryptos like never before, I'd like to stay in touch and guide you every step of the way during this historic development. You see, earlier in my life, I went through a lot of financial difficulties, and I don't wish that even on my worst enemy. I grew up in Britain's foster care system. I lived in a cramped, unheated room on top of a garage. Some nights were so cold, I couldn't even sleep. I knew in my heart, there has to be more to life than this. So when I was 16, I left for America. I had $150 in my pocket and literally the clothes I was wearing. I set off to New York City because I wanted to work on Wall Street. Within 2 years of landing in America, I went from literally flipping burgers at Roy Rogers to an entry-level position at a major US investment bank. By age 20, I became the youngest VP in the firm's history. But the higher I rose through the ranks, the wealthier I got, the more I noticed how Wall Street was rigged, and it was designed to make the rich get even richer. With my blue-collar background and humble upbringing, this just didn't resonate well with me. So I decided to leave everything behind, and I joined an independent financial research firm to share my insights with Main Street Americans. I wanted to help folks find ways to retire early, pay off their mortgage, pay for their kids' or grandkids' tuition, buy a new home, or whatever their dreams were. And so far, we've done an amazing job. You already heard from BJ, one of my readers. BJ and over 150,000 other Americans follow my work every month in a special publication called the Palm Beach Letter. Today, I'm inviting you to take a risk-free subscription and join us. The moment you do, I'll give you access to everything I've mentioned so far. In each issue, I'll explain the biggest trends in the markets and select my #1 investment for that month. It could be a stock, an income play, or some other little-known alternative I discovered while doing my boots-on-the-ground research. I'll do all the work and just hand you all the information you need to decide if you want to participate. I'll tell you what to buy, what price to pay, and how much money I expect you to make. Since I took over the reins of this publication in 2016, we've averaged 154% per year. That's 10 times better than the S&P at record highs and 81 times more than the average investor. This is unheard of performance. To put that in perspective, the best hedge fund in the world is the Medallion Fund, which has been called a $74 billion money-making machine like no other. It has averaged a 66% annual return before fees from 1988 to 2018. Because of this incredible performance, they charge a 5% annual fee plus 44% of the profits. That's the highest fee on Wall Street. That means if you invest $10,000 with them in a typical year, you'll have to pay them $3,404 in fees. And why am I telling you all of this? I'm telling you this because we're performing even better than they are. So if I charge $3,000 for my research, it would be a bargain. But I'm not publishing my research to rich institutional investors. I'm publishing it to everyday people like you. For that reason, we sell subscriptions to the Palm Beach Letter on our website for $199. That's per year, not per month. When you consider that many Palm Beach Letter readers have had opportunities to become millionaires by following just one of my recommendations, I think you'll agree $199 is a fair price. But because you probably don't know me yet, I understand I need to earn your trust first. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you a special discount today. But before I give you all the details, there's one more report I'd like to give you as a gift when you take this risk-free subscription. And it's called My Number One Way to Own Gold. Look, it's no secret that gold can also help protect you against inflation. It's why Goldman Sachs told its clients to load up on gold, saying we have long argued that gold is the currency of last resort, acting as a hedge against currency debasement. Bank of America is recommending the same, predicting a 50% jump in gold prices. Billionaire Thomas Kaplan thinks gold will go even higher, predicting a $5,000 price. Unfortunately, most people don't know the right way to invest in gold. They simply buy the ETF GLD, which is a very popular fund that tracks the price of gold. But that's not what I recommend, because that fund doesn't give you ownership of physical gold. But I found a way for you to buy and own physical gold with just one click from your computer, even from your phone. A way for you to own physical gold right now through an online brokerage account. That way you don't have to worry about storage, coin premiums, or finding a reputable gold broker. You can even buy it and hold it in an IRA or a Roth IRA where your capital gains won't be taxed. Plus, you can opt to take delivery of your gold at any time, as long as the amount you want is greater than the minimum redemption amount. Remember, when the Fed announced money printing back in 2008, gold exploded higher. I expect something similar this time, which is why when you take a risk-free subscription to the Palm Beach Letter, I'll also give you this free report called My Number One Way to Own Gold. It will walk you step by step through how to buy physical gold from your online brokerage account. When I say risk-free subscription, I mean it. You can take a look at my research and receive everything I've mentioned so far at zero risk to you. Simply take a risk-free subscription and I will immediately send you 12 months of my best investment ideas. On the first Thursday of each month, you'll get a brand new issue of the Palm Beach Letter. I don't limit myself to cryptocurrencies or blockchain. In the past, I've covered safe income stocks, alternative investments, tech stocks, etc. Now, bonus number one, my crypto master course will take you from newbie to a pro in no time. Bonus number two, blockchain millionaire, how to turn $675 into $1 million with my top 3 small cryptos for 2021. And bonus number 3, my top 3 plays for blockchain's 295,000% revolution. And bonus number 4, my number 1 way to buy gold, which will show you how to own physical gold with a few clicks online. You'll also get full support. Our specialists are located in Delray Beach, Florida. So please feel free to call or email them for any help you need with your subscription. But please note, they cannot provide any individual investment advice. You'll also get access to our one-of-a-kind model portfolio. Like I showed you before, the Palm Beach Letters model portfolio has crushed even the best hedge fund in the world. You'll also get full 24/7 access to our members-only website. That's a total value of $795. But today only, you don't have to pay anywhere near that. A subscription to the Palm Beach Letter is only $49 for the entire year. That's 13 cents a day. Now, why so affordable? Let me be clear. This price is low enough to make this a no-brainer decision for you. And it's enough to cover the costs of keeping this page online. My publisher will most likely not make any profit on this offer, but that's okay. Because once you start seeing gains with cryptos and all the opportunities I present in the pages of the Palm Beach Letter, I'm confident you'll stick with me for a long time. And I don't want your money if you're not 100% happy. That's why when you sign up for the Palm Beach letter, I'll give you a full 60 days to test out the service at zero risk to you. And if during that customer satisfaction period you find you're not getting life-changing information, or for any reason at all, you can simply call our customer service team and cancel your subscription. We'll give you a full refund, no questions asked, and we'll even let you keep everything you receive as a subscriber at no charge. You can keep all the issues. You can keep all the special reports. You can keep everything. This means that there's no risk to you at all. It's our way of saying thank you for giving the Palm Beach letter a try. To get started, simply click on the button below. It will take you to a secure order form where you can review everything one last time before you join. Look, right now, you're at the same crossroads as BJ was before she started following my work. As you heard from her, she was broke and had no hope for a comfortable retirement. Everything changed when she started following my recommendations. Today, she's literally a millionaire and no longer has to worry about retirement. You are facing the same fork in the road. You can pretend you never saw this information and go back about your life, or you can take action today to change your future. This is a once-in-a-lifetime chance. The mass adoption of cryptocurrencies can only happen once. It will only happen one time. If you miss this, there will never be another chance. I'm sure you'll make the right decision for you and your family. So I look forward to welcoming you to the Palm Beach letter in the next few minutes. I want to thank you for listening. And I want you to always remember, let the game come to you.